Hey yogis, it's Amy here. Today's practice is a beginning yoga sequence that of course anybody can do, but if you are new to yoga, this practice is going to set you up with some great foundations for a few standing poses and a couple seated postures on the floor. So roll out your mat and let's get to practice. All right, beginner yogis, we're going to start in a pose called child's position. So come over onto your hands and knees. And from here, you can take your knees, up to mat width apart. Your big toes are touching. And then you're going to slide your hips back. And ideally, your hips come to rest right over your heels, which may or may not actually happen for you. And if you find that having your knees mat width apart feels uncomfortable, just adjust. You can walk them in all the way together, even if that feels better for you. And then you're gonna bring yourself down, possibly resting your forehead all the way down on your mat. So let yourself arrive here and just take a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose. And you might just want to sigh out through your mouth. And just keep working with your breath here, letting your body start to stretch and release into this position. And with all of the postures that we do in today's practice, I'm going to be giving you lots of options. So already here in child's pose, this posture is often taught as a resting or restorative position. So if you're finding it doesn't feel very restful for you, some options would be to cross your hands one over the other, resting your forehead onto your hands. So that using this, especially when your head doesn't quite reach the floor, is really useful. So you can give that a try. Otherwise, your arms can just stretch out in front, resting your elbows down onto your mat. Keep breathing nice and deeply. And if you're somebody with really tight hips or tight knees, maybe even tight ankles, you might find for yourself that having your hips more lifted, maybe still crossing your forearms, resting your head on your hands, but keeping your hips a little bit more lifted, that might be a nice option for you. Ideally, you just want to feel like you can relax your body here, so make any little adjustments that you need to make so that you can start to soften into this beginning child's pose. Let's take 3 more breaths here. So deep inhales through the nose, and breathing out all the air. You can exhale also through your nose. And when you breathe out, just let your shoulders melt and feel your body becoming heavier. Take one more deep breath in here and try to feel your belly expand out into your thighs with your in-breath. And then relax even more, exhale. Right, and then from here, rise up onto your hands and knees. And I usually call this position tabletop. And if you look down, you're going to want to line up your knees right underneath your hips. And then your hands come right underneath your shoulders, and you can spread your fingers out nice and wide. And you just want your spine to be nice and long. You might even draw up just a little bit through the belly to support your back. And we're going to move into something called cat-cow. And this is a really nice pose just for waking up, warming up your back. So from here, let's take a full breath. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, push down into your hands and draw your chin to your chest. Tuck your tailbone under and give a little squeeze into your belly. So you're kind of pushing the floor away here. And this should just feel like a really nice stretch for your back. And the next time you breathe in, you're going to reverse that movement. So you can start to lift your tailbone, roll your shoulders down your back, lift your gaze, lift your chin. And just hold here for a moment. Try to open up through your belly, open up through your chest. And again, breathe in. And then exhale, round your spine. Chin to the chest. You can start to flow with your breath here. Breathing in arching your back, opening your chest. You can slide your shoulders down. Exhale, round out your spine. Flowing breath by breath here. Breathing in, arch. And breathing out, rounding through the back. So keep flowing with your own breath. We're going to take about 5 more rounds. And ideally, your movement and your breath are synced up here. And you might find some really tense spots along your back. And this is just a really great movement. It'll start to open up those places. But if you need to go slower or even pause and hold the position that stretches into those areas, go ahead and do that. So as a new person to yoga, one of the main things to consider as you're moving through any practice is that your body really is primary. So the messages that your body is giving you are really important, and you should listen to them. So if you ever feel a lot of pain, right, you're going to back off, even if the teacher is asking you to keep going. Great. Let's take one more full breath, breathing in. And then breathing out, rounding out your back, squeezing through your belly. Good. Breathe in. Come out to a nice long spine again. And just know that you can always come down to your elbows like I'm showing here. So if your wrist got tired from that movement and you just kind of kept going, you can always come to your forearms and you can do the same movement. It's a nice way to give your wrist a little break. So let's stretch back through child's pose once more. So you can just release those hips back, bring your forehead down. Take 3 deep breaths here and try to let your breath move into your belly. Relaxing your jaw, exhaling, breathing out. Good. Breathe out completely and then rise back up onto your hands and knees. And now we're going to move it into downward facing dog pose. So same setup here, hands underneath the shoulders, fingers spreading wide, knees right underneath the hips, and then you're just going to tuck your toes and begin to lift your hips and push your hips back in space. So you're building an upside down, or not even an upside down, but you're building like a triangle with your body. And to start off, when you first come into this pose, you can warm things up, especially the legs, by bending one knee, pressing the opposite heel towards the floor, and then bending the other knee, and just going side to side, not moving too fast. So this isn't about, you're not like running in place. This is kind of like taking a slow little walk with your legs and feet. Your heels may not touch the floor, and that's totally fine, but you can stretch them in that direction. And then eventually you can kind of settle in and just see how your body's feeling here. So if you have really tight legs, the back of your legs are really tight, you might want to take your feet wider than hip distance apart and then bend your knees. And then you're going to push into your hands and try to send your chest back towards your legs. You can just let your head hang. And when you exhale, you're going to think about letting your belly hollow out, like the navel is drawing back towards the spine. This can be a really strenuous pose. The shoulders can get really tired, especially when you're starting out. So you can take as many breaks as you need to. We're going to try holding here for just 2 more complete breaths. So deep inhale, filling up your whole body. Exhale out. Let your head just hang. 1 more deep breath in. And out. So anytime we're working in down dog, you can just drop your knees and come to child's pose to take a break. From here, we're going to begin walking the feet forward towards the front of the mat. And you can also walk your hands back. So your hands and feet meet in the middle of your mat here, and give yourself some space. So have your feet at least hip distance apart. And then again, just bend your knees as much as you need to, and just let your body hang forward. And begin to rock side to side. And so in this position, you're probably going to feel the tension in your back, right? That tension in the back of your legs also might feel a little bit more intense here. So bending those knees can help, and then just really giving yourself a little rock from side to side, maybe even rocking back on your heels and then forward towards the tips of your toes. A couple nice deep breaths. When you breathe out, just let your back release. Even think about relaxing the surface of your face. So your jaw relaxes. It's like the muscles on your face are becoming soft. Good. Breathe out completely. And then we're going to inhale, begin to roll up through the spine. So let your knees stay soft and just try to dangle your arms. Make sure your head is hanging heavy. And keep the knees bent as you begin to roll up through your spine. And when you get to the top here, lift your head at the very end. Lift your shoulders, roll your shoulders back. Bring yourself to stand nice and tall. All right, so we made it to standing. And this is our mountain pose. So it's just our basic standing pose in yoga. And some people are going to teach you to bring your feet all the way to touch. And I usually just recommend a comfortable distance so that you actually feel really grounded. So explore that for yourself. I like to have the feet kind of right underneath my inner hips. And then your arms can just rest alongside your body. And just lift up your chest a little bit. Press the shoulders back. And think of yourself extending through the very crown of your head. So you're just standing maybe a little taller than how you would normally stand in your day-to-day life. Kind of unslouching yourself and standing a bit more upright. And just close your eyes here for a moment and just kind of shift your weight around in your feet. Ungrip your toes and make any adjustments with your eyes closed, any adjustments to your stance so that you feel more steady and stable and grounded. And then reconnect with your breath and just breathe in deeply through your nose. And breathe out completely through your nose. Great. And then when you're ready, let your eyes come to open, and we're going to move through just a few basic standing poses. You can bring your hands to your hips if you'd like here, and then step yourself out nice and wide. Take a wide stance on your mat. And we're going to start on the right side. So you're going to turn your right toes away from your body, and then turn your left toes slightly towards the right. So if you are looking down, you want your right heel to line up with the arch of your back foot. And these are all kind of approximates, but it's really important to kind of start working with your foundation whenever you set yourself up for standing poses. And then we're going to bend into the front knee so that it stacks right over your ankle. And when you look down, you can easily see your big toe peeking out. And then bring your hands back to your hips. And if you notice your left hand is kind of hiked up here in the pose, you're going to just adjust your pelvis a little bit. And you can even do this just more as an exploration, letting your left hip lift way up and then sliding your left hip down. Because what we're going for is trying to get the hips to level out so that your spine can stretch straight up in the pose. And then once you feel like you're, approximately there, take your hands to the front of your belly and just breathe out, pull your belly in, and try to keep some tone there. So with all the standing poses, these are strengthening postures, most of them. And so you're going to be using some of that core strength and support. And then we're going to extend the arms out in line with the shoulders. And you might have to peek back at your left arm and just make sure that things are lined up there. This is our Warrior Two pose, Virabhadrasana 2. So this is, again, a strengthening posture. Squeeze the muscles of your left leg and press through the outside edge of your left foot. Look over your right hand. And let's hold here for 3 deep breaths. So breathing in again deeply through the nose. Lifting through the chest, exhale, pull the belly in a little bit more, finding that core strength and support. Inhale, reach out through the fingertips on both hands equally. Exhale, drop your shoulders, finding more length in your neck. Okay, one more big breath, breathe in. And breathing out, bring your hands back to your hips. Let's take that to side 2, straighten out your right leg. Spin on your right foot, turn your left toes. away from the body. And then again, your right toes are going to turn in slightly, and you're going to bend into that left knee. So your shin bone is straight up and down. You can start with your hands on your hips again. The outside edge of your back foot is almost parallel to the back edge of your mat now. And then take that little hip adjustment. This also just kind of feels good, and it helps to open up your hip joints. Some of us just have this tendency to kind of throw things forward. So trying to level out your pelvis, your two hip bones are even, and then add those arms. And you're going to take your gaze over your left hand, and ideally your eyes are really focused and they're not darting all over the place. Roll the shoulders back and down so the chest is open. Pull in through the belly, and let's take 3 deep breaths. Squeeze the muscles of your right leg and press deep into your heels here. So you could even lift your toes. I like to do that a lot to really get the leg muscles active. Lift your toes a little, press through the heels, and feel like you're going to pull your heels in towards each other to strengthen the legs even more. One last breath. Good. Take your hands back to your hips. Straighten out that left leg. Rotate your feet towards each other, and then just step your feet all the way in. And this is our little pausing place, just a mountain pose Tadasana. So you're just standing in that comfortable, steady, solid, grounded stance. Take a breath in and out. And then let's take one more breath in, but we'll add the arms here. So breathe and reach your arms up overhead. And exhale, push the arms down and away. Bring your hands to your hips again and take that wide stance. So when you step your feet out, we could say, again, if you're working with alignment and you're just learning the poses, if you extend both arms out, you want your feet to kind of line up underneath your hands. And that's just an approximate to just start working with. If you're at home, you don't have a teacher right there with you, good approximate to start with. And then bring your hands back to your hips. We're going to start on the right side again. So turn your right toes to face away from the body, and your left toes will turn in slightly. You're going to have the same stance that you just did for Warrior 2 in terms of your front heel lining up with the arch of your back foot. Actually, keep this leg straight. So we're going to take triangle pose, Trikonasana. The arms will reach out in line with the shoulders, breathing in. And then as you exhale, you're going to reach towards the right side here, and you want to bend from your hips. So on this pose, you really are actually tipping from the hips. And then you can take your right hand to your thigh, to your shin bone. Some of you maybe even bringing the hand close to your ankle. And your left arm reaches straight up. And it's not always comfortable in the neck right away, but over time, you're going to work on gazing up towards your lifted left thumb. Press into the outside edge of your left heel. Ground through your right heel. And you want to lean your shoulders back and press your hips towards me, or away from your shoulders, away from your back. Let's hold here for 3 deep breaths. And try to ungrip your toes, relax your jaw. And same thing on your exhale, just squeeze the belly in a little bit. Maybe you can relax around your shoulders. Take one more breath. Good. Breathe out, look down, right? You want to maybe bend your right knee a little bit to support you here on coming all the way back up. Exhale, hands to the hips, rotating to the left side. Good. All right. So same stance again as we did in Warrior 2. Front heel lines up with the arch of your back foot. You're going to reach out with your arms, breathing in, and then bending from your hips. So see if you can deepen that crease on the left side and lengthen out through the left side of your body. Slide that left hand down your leg, and then work on gazing up towards your lifted thumb. You can kind of even do like a little shoulder roll, and it's totally fine to wiggle around a little bit in your postures when you're first starting out especially, but I've been practicing for a little over 20 years and I still wiggle a lot in my postures. And sometimes I hold them really solid and steady, but wiggling can help you find more depth in your alignment. Feel your feet pressing down. So again, you're working with your foundation to find steadiness there. Spread your toes and then make sure you're still breathing. Okay, lean your shoulders back. Breathe in, breathe out. Take one more full breath here, breathe in. And then again, as you exhale, just go ahead and look down, right? Maybe bend your left knee a little bit, bring yourself all the way back up. Arms out to the side, hands come to the hips. Adjust your feet here, step your feet back in. Maybe take a little roll back of your shoulders. Close your eyes. Notice your breath. Just kind of notice how your body feels as a whole. It's nice to have these little pauses sometimes to kind of see how your body rebounds out of a position. Because if you pushed yourself too far, if your alignment was a little off, you might even feel just kind of something that's not quite right when you come out of the pose, a little tension, a little feedback that says, don't push me so much next time. So you want to really listen during these pauses. Let's reach the arms back up, breathe in. Good, and then breathing out, release the arms down. We're going to do one more standing pose, so hands can come again to the hips. Step yourself out wide. This time we're going to do a wide spread forward fold, and we're going to add a little twist in. So your feet are out nice and wide, and this time really line up your toes. Turn your toes in a little bit, so it's like you're pigeon-toeing your feet. And then hands can be on the hips. Roll your shoulders back, and just lift up your heart. Lift your gaze. Take a breath in. And then with your exhalation, we're going to tip from the hips. So bend your knees again. Reach out with your heart as you fold and bring your hands down to your mat. So you might have to bend your knees a lot to actually be able to get your hands all the way down to your mat. If you happen to have blocks, if you have two big books, you could stack them up and rest your hands on your books as well. And then try lengthening your spine here. So as you breathe in, you're going to reach the top of your head away from your body, and at the same time, see if you can pull your tailbone back away from your body, so you're stretching your spine in two opposite directions. Pull your belly into the body a little for some core support. Notice your breath here. And then from this position, we're going to add the twist. So take your right hand and kind of line it up underneath your forehead. So it's kind of at the midpoint between your feet. And then the hand will be right underneath your shoulder. As you press into the hand, your shoulder stacks over it, and we'll reach up with the left. And ideally, you're going to follow your hand with your eyes and look up towards your thumb. And then breathe here. This is just a nice, simple twist. And as you're twisting, keep lengthening. So see if you can pull your hips back and draw the top of your head forward. On your next exhale, releasing that left hand, place it where your right hand is. And breathe in, lift your right arm up, rotate your gaze up, pushing through your left hand on the floor, and then try to find that length in your spine. Nice deep breathing, one more inhale. And then exhale, release your right hand down and walk your hands back a little if you can and just soften your spine forward. You might want to do a little figure 8 with your spine, just swaying it from side to side. Those knees are as bent as you need them to be. And shake out your neck. Great. On your next inhale, let's lengthen. Look forward. And then heel toe your feet back in from here. So just start to heel toe. Bring your feet all the way back towards each other. And then I'm going to have you bend both your knees. So you're coming into just a little squat here. And we're going to transition all the way down onto the floor. So you can just rock back. And when you're working on the floor, if you happen to have a pillow or, again, like a big fat block or book, something like that, I sometimes use, which I'll use right now, I use an extra yoga mat to put underneath my hips. Makes sitting on the floor a lot more comfortable, especially when you're first starting out and you're kind of building the flexibility in your hips. We don't sit on the floor cross-legged very often, at least most of us don't. So you want to give your body just a little bit of support to do that. So you can use something underneath your hips if you have it, and if you don't, just that's okay too. It just, you won't have maybe as much freedom to work with. So we're going to take a little seated stretch for the hips actually. So you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And when you bring the feet to touch, you're going to pull them back in towards your hips as much as you can get them. And then bring your hands behind your hips. And then push down through your fingertips, lift up through your chest, and press your shoulders back. So it might feel like you're really expanding your chest here, which is what we're actually going for. We're kind of unslouching the body. Then you can push your heels, try pushing your heels into one another, and press your knees towards the floor. And this is a nice pose just to stay right here. If you're somebody who sits a lot for your job, if you're sitting at a desk all day long, like getting the shoulders to open, the chest to open, the hips to open all at once can really undo the stress that we accumulate sitting at a desk. Okay, so holding here, take a deep breath in. And then if you wish to go deeper, not required, but if you want to go a little deeper, try pushing off your fingertips. See if your chest actually can move forward. Some of you might have a lot of range of motion in your hips already, so you could walk your hands out and start to fold over. So just kind of explore this, and you can walk your hands out as far as you'd like. You can shift a little side to side if those hips are feeling really sticky. You can also just close your eyes, bring your awareness into your body, focus in on your hips, and take a few deep breaths. Yeah, just really being with yourself and being with what you're feeling in this moment. You might be able to relax your face again, your jaw could release, your shoulders might even be overworking as they really have a tendency to do that. And so check in a little bit and press the shoulders down away from the ears. Okay, take one more deep breath in, full breath out. Then begin to walk your hands back, lift yourself up, come to sit nice and tall. And use your hands here to support your knees and lift your knees back up together. All right, so we're gonna move all the way down onto our backs from here, and we're gonna start to unwind for our final pose, Shavasana. So come down onto your backs and bring your knees into your chest and just give yourself a nice squeeze. And just rock a little bit side to side. So this is a short, sweet practice, right? That just starts to help kind of wake the body up, cultivating a little bit of strength, right? A little more range of motion and flexibility. Most importantly, right, it's just enough time for you to really connect in, to start feeling your body at a much deeper level, cultivating that self-awareness. So important to give ourselves time to really just connect to ourselves on a daily basis if possible. So let's do a little twist from here. So go ahead and stretch your left leg out long on your mat. And keep your right knee into your chest. Take a deep breath into the belly. Exhale it out. Good. One more full breath in. And then we're going to take a nice easy twist. So you're going to bring your right knee over to the left side of your body. You can reach your right arm out and gaze towards your right hand. And just let your shoulders rest back and down. You can close your eyes. Notice how this twist feels in your spine. Notice how it feels in your hips. And then when you're ready, we'll come all the way back through center, breathing in. Give your knee a little squeeze to your body, and then release that right leg and switch sides. So bring that left knee in. You can interlace your fingers over your shin bone, hug the thigh into the belly. Full breath here. Oh, you might even want to sigh out. through an open mouth, right? Releasing any residual stress here. And then let's move into the twist. So breathe in and exhale, bring your left knee over towards the right side of your body, any amount that feels good for you. Reach your left arm out, gaze towards your left hand, close your eyes, soften your body. Take one more deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, bring your left knee back up through center. Scoop your right knee in to meet it. Give yourself one more big squeeze here. Nice little hug. And then we're going to come to rest in Shavasana, corpse pose. So let your legs stretch out long and have your legs be at least hip distance, but I even recommend a little bit wider. So if you were to look down at your feet, maybe you take your feet mat width apart and then do a little tuck of your chin so the back of the neck feels long. And take your arms out, maybe about a 45-degree angle from the body, and turn your palms up. And then let your eyes come to close. And breathe in with your whole body. Imagine your whole body filling up. Exhale out from your whole body. Let the body deflate a little and completely let go. Do that again. Breathe in like you're inhaling through the pores on your skin. Exhale out with your whole body. Let the body become soft. Deep breath in. Relax your jaw. Just sigh it out. Exhale. And then just tune into the soft flow of your breath here. Slowly inhaling, slowly exhaling. Feeling your face soft, your jaw released. Let your shoulders be heavy on your mat. Feel the weight of your arms and hands sinking down into the floor. Relaxing through your torso. Let your hips release and feel your pelvis sinking down. And let both legs become heavy. And relaxing your ankles and your feet. And then just return your awareness to that soft flow of your breath. Slowly inhaling, slowly exhaling. And then begin to shift awareness back towards your toes and your fingers and let them wiggle and stretch a little bit. And if you feel like you're in a deep state of relaxation and you've got space, open space in your schedule, maybe you just keep resting. But if you have a busy day ahead of you, right, keep waking up your body, circling out your wrist and your ankles. Stretch your arms overhead. roll over onto your right side. And it's nice to keep your right arm stretched overhead so that when you roll onto your right side, your arm becomes your pillow. And just rest here for a moment. Take a breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. Use your left hand, push down into the floor. Ease yourself up and come around on your mat and sit cross-legged. Close your eyes, rest your hands on your knees or your thighs. Close your eyes for a moment and really just go down inside yourself and take in how you feel. And then bringing the palms together at the front of the chest. Drop your chin, just bowing to yourself. Send a little gratitude down into your being. Thanks so much for joining me for this practice. Namaste. If you found this beginning sequence helpful to you, if you want more beginning practices, you can please leave me a comment and fill me in on what kind of postures you want to learn, what kind of practices you're interested in. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And then, of course, give this video a thumbs up and let me know that you liked it. Have a beautiful rest of your day.